Yeah, listen, man. I think Baker Mayfield, doesn't have an idea how the league works. When you come into the league is always trying to replace you. And even Baker Mayfield spoke on it in the podcast how he was up and down. Well, guess what? At that point, the Cleveland Browns was probably thinking, listen, if we've built this roster, what they consider a roster they can win a championship with. Do we have the quarterback that can take us over the top? And they felt like no. We don't have the quarterback to take us over the top. So what do we have to do? We got to go out there and upgrade the position. That's just how the league works. That's just the business of the National Football League. I've been through it. Most former players have been through it, and that's just what it is. I remember, during my time in New England, Drew Bledsoe signed a $100 million deal. He gets hurt. Tom Brady comes in. He never gets his job back. These are the type of things that happen in the National Football League.
Lewis, do you agree?
I agree with the fact that the NFL is a replacement business. I mean, that's what their job is as far as a football operation personnel department is concerned. Their job is to replace you. Their job is to continually upgrade the roster and continue to look for ways to make the team better. I think in this case, though, Baker's talking about something different. Baker's talking about the fact that he played hurt. He played during the season in a physical condition that was not going to lead to him playing at his very best. How could he? How could he when he had his left arm strapped down to his body and had that shoulder harness on, couldn't rotate his upper body the way he normally does in order to throw the football with accuracy? How could it be anything other than a subpar performance given everything that he was going through? And I'm sure the team was encouraging him to try and fight through it because he gave them the best chance to win, because he was the #1 overall draft pick, because he is someone who was considered at that point to be a franchise type of quarterback. I think what Baker's alluding to is something that maybe is not public right now, is the fact that maybe they then turned around and used his lack of performance, given the fact that he was playing hurt, against him, and wasn't necessarily upfront with him about the fact that they were going to be as in on the Deshaun Watson deal as they were. And then we're going to give him the kind of contract that had us all sitting here shaking our head going, what the heck is going on here? I think that's what he's alluding to. Not that he is, unaware of how the business of football works, but the fact that maybe he was being encouraged to do one thing, it affected his performance, then his performance is held against him, and he's kept in the dark about them moving in a totally different direction, which I think would tick any of us off if we were put in that same situation.
I'm so glad Lewis explains it, because you look at it that way, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's also life. Right? I feel like in every business you do with this, you have to perform to a certain level, but if someone is that much better than you, you're going to be replaced. It doesn't matter what you do. And I think for Baker, I think where it's difficult right now to have the empathy is, I don't know how much we like to hear any quarterback or any player complain or reflect. And sometimes I think when you hear this, you think, man, just be quiet. We saw the IG message. Now you're doing this interview. We weren't even talking about you, Baker. We were kind of hoping that you were going to sit quiet and maybe pull a Ryan Tannehill, get picked up somewhere else, become a backup quarterback, and win that starting job over. I think there's a lot of people in the NFL that root for Baker Mayfield. He's got something about him that's really special. If you've been around him, you know what I'm talking about. And I think even as a fan, you've seen it on Sunday. You've seen he's got some magic to him. When I talk to defensive coordinators around the league, before they would play the Cleveland Browns week to week, they never overlooked Baker Mayfield. Yeah, he's got some of his weaknesses there, but they know he can play. And I still think Baker Mayfield can play. I just don't think he's going to be a starter next year for the fact that the quarterback carousel musical chairs basically has ended at this point.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.